Hey Anand, welcome to Young Turks Talk. Thank you so much for coming onto the show.
Hi, Mihit. Thank you for having me. And it's really wonderful how you've started this with Young Turks. And I'm really excited to be on this platform.
Dude, that's super cool. And I'm really excited about today's conversation because my brother is probably waiting at home right now, probably trying to convince my parents to allow him to get into this gaming industry that is growing so quickly at this point of time. And today, by the end of the podcast, I would want the listeners to understand the scope of the gaming industry within India. How can you come out as a professional gamer if you want to make a career within this industry and bust some myths and taboos that surround gaming in general? But before we start out, I have a rapid fire round for you. So I've got three questions. So let's start with the first question. The first question is three words that you would use to describe yourself.
Uh, let's see. Nobody has asked me this question in a while. So maybe I think of myself to be funny.
Acha, okay.
I am I'm passionate, so I'm passionate towards certain things. So that's second, and the third one probably I'm. I mean, I can come off as creative. I wouldn't put it as
Hmm.
a hard thing, but yeah, those are the three things which are describing me right now.
Awesome.
So
Let's go to the second question. The second question is an interesting one because you are a professional gamer yourself. So, if you had to only play one game for the rest of your life, what game would you play?
I don't need to think about this one. It's Dota. It's Dota 2. That's the game I've been playing the longest in my life and the most consistent game. I've been playing here and there other games. I try out the new games which come out, but Dota has been going on since last 17 years, I think.
What is so special about that game? What's so special about Dota?
So the game is such that it's a 5-on-5 online multiplayer game. So the game is such that every game you play is a different experience because you're
Okay.
playing with four other combination of other players, and the strategies involved in that they keep changing, they keep evolving. Also, the developers keep pushing updates, so the game keeps evolving and changing. So that's why I love Dota, and also the esports. Scene behind Dota is quite strong. So I love to watch the tournaments which go on international levels. So that's what has kept
Hmm.
me still hooked onto Dota.
So it's not only a game which is probably just for entertainment, but a lot of thinking that goes around while
Yeah,
you
yeah,
play the
yeah,
game in general.
yeah. I think it's the most complex game out there to play, hands down.
Wow. I've never played Dota, but I would love to sometime, probably with you itself. The
Yeah.
third question is if you could probably make a movie out of a single game, what movie or I'm sorry, it's the other way around. If you could make a game out of a movie, which movie would you choose
Oh,
to make a game out of?
which movie would I choose to make game out of? Hmm. So, there have been games around Harry Potter. Harry Potter was my one of my favorite franchises as growing up.
Hmm.
So every time a movie used to come out, there used to be a game coming out as well. But I would love to see a game developed in this era about Harry Potter, which is on phone and it should be multiplayer, like how Pokemon
Yeah.
Go was kind of a
Yeah,
thing,
yeah, yeah.
and everyone got onto it. So
Yeah.
that is something which is not there, and maybe they can do it sometime.
Yeah. Harry
So,
Potter, I think, is a personal favorite for everyone, and I am sure that if a game comes out of Harry Potter, it will be an absolute banger.
yeah.
And cool. So now that we've started with we've done with those three questions. Let's start with the podcast itself. Before we start, could you tell the listeners a little bit about yourself and how you got yourself in the gaming industry?
Okay, so I'll take you way back, probably in the 90s. So, I started off. as a gamer in the 90s, everyone used to rent out these video games, 8-bit video games. So my elder brothers and cousins used to get these games over. I used to initially watch them, and slowly they started giving me the controller to play with them. And I mean, that was a start. Then we had a computer, then we played games like Dave, Doom, Wolfenstein 3D, and those sorts of games. So it was an early start for me in terms of getting introduced to the games, thanks to my brothers. And also we had a computer at an early age in our house as well. So I mean, from that point onwards, I have played so many different games on so many different platforms that I mean, that's why I probably tended towards getting into the gaming industry as well. So let me fast forward now to my graduation. So after graduation, I studied BBA in Symbiosis here in Pune. But after graduation, I thought, I mean, I wanted to do a job in gaming to just explore the field. So I got a job at Ubisoft. Ubisoft is one of the biggest game publishers. Games
Okay.
like Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, and many big names under them as well. So I was a tester with them for almost a year, and I worked on a
Okay.
game called Rayman Legends. So that game was made for Wii U. I don't know if you remember the console Wii U.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
it had a touchpad, and it was the upgraded version of the Wii. So I was doing the game on that, and in that whole 1 year, I probably learned so much about gaming and realized that me as a user who plays the games, many of us did not know how much time and how much effort and how much skill goes on to making a game perfect and what it is in front of you. So it takes a year or two or more than that for certain games to get the development through. I learned about the testing process, about designing process, about the development process, music composition as well. And kind of that 1 year gave me a good head start to see what is coming up in the gaming industry going ahead. So after I finished my job, I studied again for a couple of years, and I came back and started my own organization, startup. It was called Mac Gaming, and that time we were doing online.
What is the full form of Mac gaming?
There's no full form as such.
Okay.
It's just a gaming term which I liked probably that
Okay.
time. Mag is the sniper which you use in CS, and also it's
Okay.
a hero in Dota. And I mean, we had to come up
Yeah.
with a name that time, so we didn't really, I mean, think as much. But it was a nice name. It stuck around even with our subscribers and people. It stuck around, and everyone still does remember me associated with that name even in today. So about the startup I was telling, so we were into online and offline Dota and CS tournament organizations, also FIFA, Hearthstone, and many other games. So we were an esports organization. We were doing basically people who want to play these games. There's no reason for them to play these games. So we came up with many sorts of tournaments. So people are interested, and they form this. I mean, it's a skill play in the gaming. So we kind of provided that entertainment also to people. We used to do commentary over it. We used to do content, YouTube videos surrounding those tournaments. And also we used to do third-party tournaments also, becoming an organizer. So that was Mac Gaming. We also did team management. So team management is what basically any esports organization decides to choose or decides to go in a certain game. They get 5 players of that game called a roster. So that's the
Okay.
roster. So handling them, making sure they are practicing, managing them. So we were managers for one of this team called Invisible Wings of Dota 2. So which we kind of dominated 6 months at least in India with that team. And then the team disbanded kind of thing. But yeah, there are many things which went on throughout that Mac gaming phase as well. And currently, fast forwarding to this year, I am now working on a project, or it's a startup again. So basically, I am teaching how to game stream to people. So game streaming is a technique which recently got popularized in India, probably last 3-4 years, with the flux of mobile gaming coming into the industry. So a lot of people want to showcase their games on YouTube and Twitch and Facebook and platforms like these. So basically, I kind of teach them how to do that in my current venture.
Wow. So you're
And
now a teacher also. So you've worn different hats throughout your career. You've
yeah,
worn
yeah,
the
yeah.
hat of a game developer, or being a tester for a game for a game that was being developed. Then you also went on to playing various games for various different tournaments. You played professionally. You also took up a team and then guided the team in various tournaments that were held across India. Now you are doing a course. So you've worn these different hats over a different
Yeah.
over this period of time. But as of now, if you have to look back from when you started to now, what were the type of challenges you faced while you were in this journey of becoming a professional gamer?
So, firstly, I myself did not reach to a level to call myself a professional gamer. We were
Okay.
professional tournament organizers, and I was a professional caster. So
Okay.
basically, I used to do tournament commentary and tournament analysis with my team and everything, and provide data to our users. So
Okay.
that's what I did, and we handled a professional team to
Okay.
take parts in tournaments, multiple teams actually. So, I mean, it's been a long journey from start to end, and I mean, it's still going on. But I mean, challenges I faced were pretty much like, I mean, they were there throughout. So, few things on top of my mind would be the first challenge I think everyone faces is kind of the resistance towards this sort of work, towards this side of line of work
Hmm.
with gaming. And back at that time, it was also new for everyone around. It wasn't as popular as it is these days. These days, even like the big guns are talking about it. Reliance is talking about it. Ambani is talking about it. A lot of people have gotten into setting up companies to cater to the gaming market in India. And at that time, these things weren't there. So number one would be resistance from parents to make them understand what sort of industries there. And first thing is that everyone should understand that whatever has happened outside of India is bound to happen in India, and that's how the trend has been. So gaming
Okay.
was already popular around the world last 15 odd years. So it took a while to come into India, and now it's finally here. So I mean,
Societal pressures.
yeah, yeah.
Societal pressures.
So yeah, societal pressures are there. Another thing I can think of was that at that time, getting remuneration for the amount of work or energy you're putting in wasn't as great as it is right now, because again, the industry was nascent. There were not a lot of people doing it. So if you had to do it, you kind of had to sacrifice little bit of money for the passion towards it, towards it.
Hmm.
So money was another thing, that you were not getting the right amount of money for the work you're executing. Another challenges was finding stable people. I think that's not a challenge faced by, I mean, it's a challenge faced by everyone, but something to get consistency is a lot of issue in the current gaming industry. Like I have noticed, like people keep changing organizations. There are a lot of shuffles which happen. People leave
Hmm.
one organization for another for just matter of 10-15,000 bucks or like whatever. So the gaming industry is kind of, I mean, frowned upon, you can say, in India for having these sorts of changes. There's no consistency. There is always poaching and a kind of a bad name behind it. But we are getting out of it in the last 2-3 years. So I mean, yeah, those were like a couple of challenges I faced.
Anand, but today as well, there are a lot of misconceptions and taboos that surround gaming. And rightly so, parents believe that gaming can become addictive in some way or the other. If children play violent games, it can probably affect their mental well-being in some way or the other. So, are these misconceptions or are these points that are put forward by parents or the society in general valid, or are they exaggerated to a level where we actually associate gaming as a taboo in our society?
It's a quite a interesting question, Meir. So this is how I would like to, I mean, put it. I wouldn't say gaming is not addictive. It is, of course, addictive, and I mean, I would deny it if I was. I mean, I was also addicted to it at some point of time. So these concerns put across by parents, like addiction, violence. Now again, violence is something which the parents should be able to kind of control and make sure the child is hitting the right games at the right time, because it's same like movies. Like if you're not going to let your underage kid
Hmm.
watch a movie which is PG-16 or whatever, above
Right.
16, so same goes with gaming. And another aspect to gaming is you should always see it just as a when you're starting out, when you're a teenager, or when you like gaming, you should always see it as a hobby. Just like how anyone goes to play football for a couple of hours, 2 3 hours, nobody minds that. But the
Mm.
minute your kid is spending 2 3 hours in front of a screen, it's a problem. So that perception of parents probably should change, because we are going to have games throughout. There are going to be professional careers around gaming. There are going to be companies who are going to boost this sort of a market as well going ahead. So taboo related gamings are valid, but they are slowly disappearing with the industry coming in, is what I would
So
like to say.
what are if we have to probably convince parents or the society in general onto why gaming can be something that you can spend 2 3 hours in a day doing, what are the benefits that you can probably tell them so that it gives them an incentive to allow their children or anyone who wants to get within the industry to actually play games and spend time doing that?
Okay, so there are, I feel the positives of gaming far override the negatives of gaming. If you see it to it, I mean, of course, I have my bias, but this is what I have gotten through my gaming life. I have made countless number of friends from across the globe sitting at my home, and like they are quite close friends because we used to interact on daily basis and like things like
Hmm.
that. And the like you change games, you change friends, and you make more friends as a community. The gaming community is fantastic, like to have. If you're especially in the lockdown time, like I was gaming heavily because that's the only thing you could do with your friends online.
Hmm.
So it kept me happy, it got the joy out of me. And also gaming kind of lets you become somebody who you can't become in real life, or basically it kind of boosts your imagination, boosts your fantasy towards it. And basically, you get this sense of achievement also by doing certain things in the game. So it keeps your like levels of energy high. I feel you, of course, you get frustrated when you lose, but the whole point of getting in front of a computer and trying to win a game is it's quite nice, because I have noticed this. Many of my gamer friends are competitive not only in gaming, in other things as well. Like if they play cricket, football, it kind of brings out the competitiveness of a person as well.
Correct.
It's something which I feel you need in life to become I mean, to progress. Like you need some sort of a
Hmm.
competition or something to defeat or to beat every time. So that's another plus point. Plus, like there are so many, like you get more creative thoughts, your memory becomes sharp. You can your motor movements, your hand-eye coordination becomes much better. So there are many of these, and I'm not saying it, there are research out there which is proven, and which is saying all of these things. So there are a lot of benefits also going towards gaming. And talking about the Indian scenario especially, now I would say that money is also now come into the play.
Right.
People are choosing careers in gaming which they didn't have before. And just to, I mean, put it out there, the Indian gaming industry right now stands at around a $1 billion.
one
So
billion dollars.
yeah. So it's just, I mean, just started off towards that. 2020 was a good market for it, and we are going to go ahead with it.
Wow. I think it's very interesting the way you told us that it actually allows you to imagine things in a way that you would have never been able to imagine, and gaming gets that out of you. And secondly, I think I personally relate to the competitive spirit that comes out of me while I'm gaming, because I've seen that while I'm on tennis court, while I'm playing tennis, or if I'm playing a game probably for 1 or 2 hours on PUBG as well, that competitive spirit stays, and I think gaming gets the most out of me when I'm playing the game itself.
Yeah.
So that's very interesting. But now I would want to probably take a different route and get into the professional realms of gaming, right? If you have to understand what does it mean to be a professional gamer, we need to understand how do you actually start out as a professional gamer. So what, according to you, are the steps that one might need to take to start out their professional journey as a professional gamer or a streamer in general?
Okay. So, firstly, I would like to, I mean, say this, that there are many careers in gaming, not only related to streaming or becoming a pro gamer. There are
Hmm.
some skill sets which require in game development, in music composition, in animation, in graphics. So if you have, so what I say, this is also, if you have a combination of both, let's say you're a designer and you love gaming, you would choose a career path which would kind of mix both of them. Let's say
Hmm.
you love playing the guitar, or you are a DJ, or you're a music composer, and a gamer as well. You can choose that sort of a path as well. So there are many paths you can find towards going into this industry. How I distinguishes between these two is, one is the production bit and the other one is the user bit. So the production bit requires you to have certain skill sets like coding, doing design, and all of those skill sets which you acquire through your education. The other one is the user base, or the gamer front, you can say, in which there are also careers like you can become a game streamer, like how people do it on YouTube, and basically entertain people through your games. You can become a professional gamer. What you're talking about is basically taking one game, playing it to such a skill level where you can compete with others around the globe and earn money through that. So
Okay.
it's just like IPL or like any other sports league which goes on. Same goes with gaming, but with multiple games, and it's online
Okay.
also. Another one is content creation. Let's say you have a good hand as a journalist, or you like doing journalism. You can be a game journalist as well. You can become a content creator, not just a live streamer. You can just create content without going live. So there are many such avenues in gaming which one can explore.
Wow. I think I think it's a industry which is growing really quickly. And
Yeah,
just like every other industry which in the start looked a little it did not look as the right suit for someone to get into. It has boomed into something big. People have then started going and becoming a part of that industry in some way or the other. I think gaming is as well heading in a similar
correct.
direction. But if we have to specifically focus on professional gaming, right? Do you need, and if someone does not have the funds to probably start their professional careers, how can they actually go about gaming? Or is it important for you to have an investment in the start?
I mean, see, anyone who wants to firstly become a professional gamer or wants to think about going into gaming first has to be a casual gamer. Nobody can, like, it's an occupation coming out of a passion and hobby, is what I feel. Nobody can, like, if you're like sitting with a counselor and talking, ki, sir, what should I go into? He's not going to say कि gaming है ऐसा चालू कर सकते हैं. Other options, like let's say you want to get into marketing, advertising, video shooting, and everything.
Hmm.
All of these have a certain way of doing, constructive, through a constructive method. You can learn all of these things. So if you're
Right.
a gamer, firstly, you know it. You have been playing games. You can't just like be 18 and start playing games and be professional about it. If you're a gamer, you have been playing games, and to draw a line where you can probably make the shift from playing casually to playing it professionally is where one has to think about. So a couple of points over there is, first, one needs to analyze whether you really want to get into this, as to how hard you feel towards this career, and also going online and exploring all the options out there regarding your game or regarding the career path you have chosen in the gaming industry as well. So it basically, if you're a gamer, you will figure out these things by looking at content online. Any gamer who plays will watch content and will learn through it and can evolve through it over there itself. So initial setup, I mean, everyone should have their gaming computers or gaming consoles or whatever they game on is what you require. So if you have played that game enough, you can choose to go professional in it.
Are there any games as of now in the for in the past 3-4 years that have really come about to be really successful that you would recommend someone to probably try their hands on to?
Oh, see, now again, I would like to put a disclaimer here. These are my thoughts. But again, so there are many games. Like what I would say is, so Dota 2, the game which I play, I'll just give you a fun fact about it. Every year, Dota 2 has a World Cup, you can say. It's called the International. And in that International, all the best teams in the world come to play. And
Okay.
can you just guess the prize money or the prize pool which is allocated to that event.
Probably 50 lakhs. No.
I want in US
Dollar,
dollars. Yeah,
US dollars. Probably like $100,000.
that's the minimum kind of a tournament which
Okay.
goes on. So this the international it's the World Cup of Dota 2 has 40 million US dollars as the prize pool.
Wow.
That is around 300 crores INR around. So I mean, it's mind-boggling to what level gaming and esports have come down to, and that I'm just talking about one game, one tournament. Dota
Mhm.
has multiple tournaments of 1 million, half of $1 million as prize money throughout the year. Same goes with other games. So firstly, you have to first decide on what genre you're going to go on to. So these days, mobile games are killing it in the esports market. So PUBG, which is recently again launched as BGMI in
Correct.
India, is doing many tournaments as well. So that is a good game, I believe, to go into because somebody is funding it to make it work. So it's gonna have more prize money, more prize pools
Mhm.
going with it as well, growing with it as well. So another one is Free Fire, Call of Duty. All of these popular mobile games have their esports scene as well. So for anyone who hasn't seen what esports is, I would just, I mean, tell you, go quickly on twitch.com, twitch.com. Go to the favorite game which you like or which you play, and go just watch a tournament over there. Like you will find a live stream of a tournament going around at that time. So I mean, it's amazing what sort of things you can do with esports as well.
Wow. That's really cool. And what fascinated me most of what you told me is that the prize money that you mentioned of the World Cup, $50 million. That's massive.
Yeah.
It's absolutely
But
massive.
don't get me wrong. It's a real grind to get to that level. It is not you cannot achieve it in a year or two. According to me, you need to be really talented to get to that level. And
Okay.
so basically, the tournaments which have these sort, I mean, the teams which enter these kind of tournaments have an ongoing gaming houses like
Hmm.
organizations. They basically have physicians also, coaches also, trainers who kind of look after the whole team to make sure that they are doing it better. They are
Right.
doing better in every tournament, and it's madness. So a couple of Dota teams have also got sponsorship from your English Premier League teams. Like AS Monaco is sponsoring one of the Dota teams,
Hmm.
and so is PSG LGD. I mean PSG.
Wow. Dude, so it's actually becoming a really big thing right now.
Yeah,
And
so basically, what happened with cricket and the other sports, probably in the 80s or 70s, 80s, 90s, it's
is
going to
happening now.
happen the same with gaming because there are going to be
Mhm.
leagues around it. There's going to be a lot of buzz around it. And also, one must understand that the generation of gaming is right now coming up. As you said, your brother is excited to get back. I mean, for you to get back and ask you questions about gaming and everything. So, the generation which is coming up is well acquainted with games and is going to be an audience for the coming generations as well. So
Mhm.
yep, this shift is bound to happen of esports in all over the world.
Wow. I'm absolutely thrilled by everything you've said till now. And before we end this podcast, I would just want to know if you have anything else that you would want to tell someone who's probably 15 or 16, or someone who was in a similar shoe as you were probably when you started your career. Any bit of advice to them on to what can they do to convince their parents, or probably get into this industry as of now and make a career out.
Yeah, so I mean, couple of things on top of my head is firstly, your parents are looking after you. I mean, they have all the good wishes in you. So please listen to them. I'm not asking to go become a rebel and like, I want to play video games 12 hours a day, 16 hours a day to become
Mhm.
professional. You cannot do that. You will ruin your life. Like right now. Like if you're thinking of getting into gaming, firstly, same thing I did. Like I completed my studies, I got a graduation, a post graduation, as well as I was doing this on the side. It should be
So
considered.
some form of a secure.
Of course,
Uh,
and the education and everything is obviously going to help you with whatever you do in life. So one cannot directly, firstly, bank on getting 100% into gaming. This is what I even suggest to my students who come to my course as well, that you guys can do this part time. Do it part time for a year, focus on your job, focus on your studies, do this part time, see where it's going. Once you start making money, double that amount of money, try making more. And then once you hit a level where you feel you can do it full time, then just leave everything and go for it. Because in gaming, consistency is the key for anything you do in gaming. You have to be consistent. If you just do it for a couple of months, think it's not working, it's not going to work. Like you're just going to like waste your time getting into this. And another advice I would give is that, I mean, show your parents what is happening around the world, or these tournaments which I'm talking about. All the information is out there. You can
Educate yourself first
educate
before
yourself first
telling.
before going and talking to your parents. The parents must know what sort of industry it is. Show them some statistics. There is a great
Right.
report by KPMG on gaming, which I think they did a couple of years back only.
Okay.
One can read that and understand how the gaming industry is going ahead. So I mean, yeah, that is it. Get your parents also on board, then only it's gonna help you. Otherwise it's a no go for me. I mean, if my parents didn't support me for what I was doing, without, I mean, I had to educate them also. We had our
Right.
own differences. We had to talk them through this. And thankfully my brother also is in gaming. He makes arcade video games. Like recently we shifted into making arcade video games, but he was the one who kind of um, got me into gaming also. And he also, being a gamer, like we kind of do these things together. So it was kind of easy to convince our parents, you can say, and
Hmm.
go about it. But it's an exciting field. It's definitely worth a shot if you're passionate about it. And there are so many things which you can do in it. And I mean, yeah, that's about it. So
Awesome. I think we have covered everything around the gaming industry in general. And if someone has any other extra question, if we have come till the end of this podcast and learn, if they have any other questions for you, they can probably reach out to you. I'll put your link, your credentials in the bio. And otherwise, this was a very exciting podcast. Thank you so much for coming on Young Turks Talk. I would love to have you again later.
thank you so much, Mir. It was exciting to talk to you. I mean, half an hour is not doing justice for this topic. Let me be clear also. You can have a volume two
Yeah.
if everyone likes this. I would love to talk to you guys more. So thank you so much for having me on Young Talks again.